Hey everybody, welcome again to the Going Off podcast, bit of a special episode, because no matter what you may believe about your friends on the internet that provide content, we're all human, and every so often, we make mistakes. And last Tuesday, we had the honor of being joined by the legendary Arabian Prince, part of N.W.A, who has been generous enough to offer us his time once again today, because the first time we talked, it didn't record. So, as I made very known on social media afterwards.
And now we've got like 4 mics going at the same time.
Oh yeah.
Just to be sure.
This is looking like when someone does a major press conference, and they just have like 10 microphones in front of their face. Everyone needs a copy.
Arabian Prince, say hello to the fine people.
Yeah, I'm in the house. What's up? We're gonna do this one more time. Take 2.
It's gonna be even better than the first one.
Yeah, it is, because I'm actually building a new gaming PC while we do this, so I'll be focused. So.
Wait, what? Oh, cool.
Yeah, the gamer in me's always got to do something.
Yeah.
Multi-talented. Something we learned about our pal Arabian Prince last time was that he's been dabbling. Well, not really dabbling. He's kind of been making it his thing for the past. When exactly did you get into animating and the whole gaming situation?
Man, that's a good start because we didn't even talk about that last time. So
not really.
Like way back, man, in like the late '80s when we be touring around. Like for all the young cats out there that don't know, back in the day, I think we briefly touched on it. Like all of the music gear back in the day either had to be connected by MIDI or a CV gate. It was all these weird connections you had to make just to make a sequencer work or to get your keyboard, your drum machine to sync up, or 808 was the hardest thing to get to sync with anything, so it was kind of crazy. So that's how I got into kind of being a tech head, learning how to do all that music stuff. But when we started touring, I got bored real quick because being in N.W.A, you really couldn't go out and party much because fools was always trying to get at you or want to fight or the police or whatever, man.
Wait,
so you had to kind of chill.
Are you serious?
Oh, man, it was crazy back in the day. You go places and then, some people was cool, other people's weren't cool. You really had to watch your back a lot. So
some people would be like, oh, you're it from N.W.A. You think
yeah. We want to kill you. You know what I mean? Like, oh, y'all think. Most of the time it was like, oh, y'all think y'all hardcore and y'all up in our city, we gonna test y'all. That's how it was,
God damn.
Yeah, man. So
Was there a specific rival rap group at the time?
No, you know what? It wasn't really rap groups. It was just you go if you went to Seattle, Washington, a place where you thought, just Seattle, it really ain't nothing going on out here,
It was grunge.
And all of a sudden you got dudes testing you, want to beat you down or go at you to see how hardcore you are, And I'm like, man, we the voice of the people. We ain't out here to fight y'all. We trying to talk for you. We on your side as well. But that's how it was, man. So I spent a lot of time, man, learning how to just program computers, just like a hobby kind of thing. Because I bought one of the first laptops that you could get back in the day. And Radio Shack used to sell computers. That's how old I am. So. People don't realize you go to Radio Shack, man, you buy a laptop.
That's dope.
Yeah.
So, what was I gonna ask? Okay, going back to rap though. I this had completely went over my head when I had first I had gone back and listened to music from 1980s and 1990s just to get a feel of everything, just to go through it thoroughly. And I came across your song. And I had completely forgotten that was the same Arabian Prince. She's Got a Big Posse.
Yeah.
Muse, have you seen the music video for this song?
No, what is this?
It is fantastic.
Thank you, sir.
Can I show it to him?
Yeah, it is sick.
When was this?
Good morning, fellow.
Oh, man, it had to be 89, maybe?
Yeah,
okay.
It's 89.
So this was after Straight Outta Compton was already out and a thing. This is separate.
Oh yeah, I had just left went to go do my own thing, signed a deal with Orpheus EMI Records and just, made a record. And I was like, I'm just gonna be me. I'm not gonna do the whole gangster rap thing. I'm just gonna make what I was making before, this kind of party music. Just, just make feel good music and just do my thing.
And you weren't going like, oh, Arabian Prince recently from the,
Nah.
N.W.A. group. It was just like, no, this is me.
Yeah, and I've always been that way, man. I'm like I said, I'm a grown ass man. I just do me. And I just wanted to go do me and get paid because I wasn't getting paid in N.W.A. Wasn't really nobody else getting paid. So I'm like, okay, I know how to make money. I just go do my thing and did a good deal, made a lot of money, and did my thing.
There was a few things we had talked about last time, and I guess just a short abridged so we don't go over it all again.
Why not? No one heard it.
I know, but I don't know.
Who are we sparing?
I guess you're right. Just just a few bullet points to possibly go back over. You wrote well. I guess we could talk about the N.W.A. and the Posse and how that was not an official release. You had mentioned that was a bootleg released with like almost without your either without your permission or there were extra folks added that you didn't know exactly.
Yeah. It was actually our manufacturing company that we were on before we went to Ruthless Priority. Just decided they're going to take our EP, which was just called N.W.A., and slap some more people on it and put it out as an album. Like, we didn't even know. Like, no, they didn't even ask. They just did it.
So how was the picture related to that? Like, did you guys know you were doing it for that album?
No, that was the picture was the same for the EP. They never, like, if you look at the original and look at that, they're identical, except they added Posse. Then they put a bunch of new songs and some names down the side of the new people, but they didn't change anything except that.
So they were just kind of gambling on which one of these guys is going to get big, and let's just,
They just put it out. I mean, the whole N.W.A. picture, we just did it with a bunch of homies that we knew from the hood, just to make it look like, we deep. And that's just how that was. But yeah, they was just trying to.
N.W.A. has a posse.
Yeah.
So, with Panic Zone on the N.W.A. EP and Something to Dance To on the Straight Outta Compton, were more or less your style for the point of giving N.W.A. kind of a representation on the radio, since you had said that the other stuff wasn't getting any radio play because it just couldn't. So that was your mainstream representation, and you're saying this She Got a Big Posse is kind of a extension of that. I was curious, it's something we didn't talk about last time. Now I'm sure it was making you money, so it's whatever. But what was your, I guess, your feeling on like the hardcore gangster shit that like was going on around you, like when that wasn't exactly your style, but that's what the rest of the group was about?
Well, you know what's funny? It wasn't exactly anybody's style. It was just so new. When we went into it, I mean, Dre hadn't done it before. Cube hadn't done it before. I hadn't done it before. No, Eazy-E hadn't even rapped before, So Yella hadn't done it before. Nobody had done it. So it was like new. Ice-T had kind of touched on it, a little bit, but it was just something brand new. So it wasn't the fact that I didn't like it. It was just, I was more on the production side. I just did those couple tracks, me and Dre, just because we knew we needed radio play, and then that was it. I would have, rapped. I would have said some gangster words on some other stuff too, but I was just more on the production side, just focusing on that at the time.
So when, who was like the first guy that you heard was like, oh, that's gangster rap? Like,
I would have to say, shoot, I would say, probably, Ice-T was doing more, not even gangster really. Ice-T was doing more, like pimp and hoe rap kind of early on. It wasn't really gangster.
So people wouldn't consider that gangster rap.
Not initially. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because Ice-T was more like a hustler, not a gangster. I think N.W.A. was probably the first group doing straight gangster, and like Too Short was just doing nasty, dirty rap. So he came out the Bay. He had a lot of records. Like even when we first started, when we met Too Short for the first time, he already had like 14 records out. So I was like, damn, But his stuff was more, like just nasty rap. So
no, it's very interesting because now me looking back on that time and like not growing up in it, I would look at all that and be like, oh yeah, that's what they call gangster rap. But it's funny that at the time I was like, no, that wasn't really it yet. That wasn't really it yet. you
yeah,
know?
yeah, yeah. So I think we kind of touched on it first.
Oh, okay.
So, with that being said, I guess just besides the it being so new, what was the the thing that made it so like, yeah, we should definitely do this? Like, obviously you found out that, you know, it rattled some cages, you know, so to speak, and it got under people's skin. But like, was that the initial, I guess, driving force behind the like rapping about such more like the violent aspect, if there wasn't really too much people doing that beforehand?
No, I mean, like I said, I think it was more just telling stories of what was going on in our neighborhood, man. Like the police had kind of stepped it up a little bit, and we was like, man, this, it's getting hot over here, dude. It's getting a little bit unnecessary. And then the crackheads and the drug dealers and the gang banging, all that stuff, it kind of elevated at the same time in LA. And it was just something good to talk about. It's like, man, let's talk about this right here. So it wasn't like anything for stock treatment. It was just stories about what was going on in our neighborhood that we grew up in.
Okay. So now going back to it, you we talked about in the other interview. I hate saying this.
I know.
But about how the last song, "Something to Dance to," it wasn't really like it. Like you said, you made it just because, like, oh, well, we need to put something out there. We need to put out something to dance to. Let's make a song called "Something to Dance to."
In Something to Dance to, there's like references to like, nah, not that like everyone's doing that or whatever. Like, was that track supposed to be satirical, or like, I don't know, like, I don't want to say taken seriously because I'm sure you wouldn't have just recorded something for the fuck of it, but
No, it was a fun track, because that was the thing, man, about N.W.A. We was, if you actually, it's very hard to find early video of the group, but we was all crazy, having fun and stuff. So it was just a fun track for radio, just to kind of show that N.W.A. had a lighter side, and we party like everybody else because in LA was a party city, and we knew the whole gangster rap thing was something new, but LA was still a party city. So you had to have something, for the party, and that's why we just kind of did it. Yeah.
Okay, I think I know what I want to ask now. Okay, so what was the first thing from Straight Outta Compton that people heard?
The first thing from Straight Outta Compton that people
Yeah.
heard. Man. Well, you know what? That I don't know. It might have been. Man, I'm at the.
Because like
I mean, I know something. I know something Dance to hit radio first.
really?
But yeah, I think they hit radio first. But that was after we had done the EP already. So radio had got tolerant because you had that and the Eazy-E record out.
Yeah,
Straight Outta Compton.
I wanted to ask about that too. So, Eazy-E's album came out first.
Yeah.
And then, so like, how did they bill it? Was it like Eazy-E and N.W.A, or was it like, this is Eazy-E, and then, oh, by the way, like, I got this group too? Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know how Lil Wayne was like, hey, it's Lil Wayne, and then here's Young Money, or was it like, here is the whole group, and I just happen to be the first one you hear?
No, it was Eazy and N.W.A. So we was actually billed as two separate groups, kind of.
Okay.
Like, yeah, two different pay. So, they knew we were together, but they knew it was just two separate things as well.
Mm.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that kind of get lost to time, because I remember reading something about how like Eazy-E was supposed to be the crazy one in the group.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. He was like a little Napoleon.
But like I don't get that now. Like it just seems like he's just another member of the group. But it's funny how like at the time like that was their angle.
Yeah, well, we always tried to make people think that Eazy was young. Like they would always say like he was only 18 or 16 or whatever we were saying he was, and he was actually one of the oldest ones in the group.
It does kind of feel that way when you listen to some of the tracks though, like how it's like how he kind of was. No, like how it was like a feature, because when we had done the reviews of the two albums, and we were talking about Dope Man, and it's like, hey, yeah, this song's great, and then at the end it's like, hey, I'm the Dope Man, and he's like, oh, okay, here's a verse that Eazy's gonna do, and like it almost does kind of feel like tacked on for like, well, I guess people are gonna want to hear Eazy on the track too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, when it comes to songs like Gangsta Gangster, like okay, so for the writing process of that, what were those 3 verses like done, and then he added that?
No, that was all kind of just part of it. Like, and the thing too, how we wrote the stuff. Like, Cube wrote a lot of the stuff, Red wrote a lot of the stuff, but a lot of the stuff was improvised in the studio. We'd all be just sitting in there, and it was kind of like, oh yeah, say that, or hey, put this in there. It was just kind of a spontaneous thing. And another thing, man, we really didn't take forever doing songs. You know what I mean? Like, we'd be in the studio whipping out stuff pretty doggone quick. So once the song was done, the beat was up, we was trying to get that sucker done, and get it out.
Right.
Your production credit on the track Supersonic for JJ Fad. What brought that up? Like, how did you know JJ Fad? Like, were you guys the first like approach? Like, hey, we want to record this thing. Would you produce it, or like how did? Because it says like Eazy's a executive producer, and you, Dre, and who was it, Ren or Yell? I forget who. Like, we're also credited as producers on it.
Well, how that whole thing went down, so let me clear it up. So, because everybody keeps asking that, there's actually 3 different versions of Supersonic. And there was the first version. I actually produced and recorded Supersonic by myself. So nobody else was connected with it. It was just me and the girls. I actually used to date one of the girls in the group, and Dre used to date one of the other girls in the original group. And we used to go out, and they used to live out in Rialto. So we used to ride out to Rialto, California all the time and just hang out with them. And one day I just happened to be in the studio, and they were like, we want to make a record. We want to make a record. And I'm like, and Dre wasn't going to touch it. He was like, y'all can't rap, whatever, I didn't think they could rap either. So, but one day I was just in there messing around. I had some studio time left over, and I was like, all right, let's do this. Let's mess around. And we recorded 2 songs. We did a song called Another Hoe Bites the Dust that was dissing Roxanne Shante and the real Roxanne, all the Roxannes on the East Coast, because that was hot, for the girl groups on the East. So they wanted to diss them. So we made that record. And then I was like, well, they can really rap. So we need to do a little more than this right here. So then I made the song called Supersonic and put that on the B-side. And what happened was, and I also put it out on, at the time, some of my buddies' label, Dream Team Records, because the LA Dream Team had like a real big hit at the time. And the record label was hot. So I was like, all right, we're going to put this out on my boys' label, Dream Team Records. And it blew up. So what happened was, when radio got a hold of it, they listened to the A-side, which was Another Hoe Bites the Dust, and immediately started playing Supersonic.
Probably because they were like, not sure we could play Ho.
Yeah. So they started playing Supersonic, and it just like blew up. And then, unfortunately, my boy over there at Dream Team got brain damage and started forgetting to pay me.
Oh.
So,
oh no.
Yeah, it always happens, man. When checks come in, people be forgetting. So I had to kind of put the smack down and take the record back. So I ended up putting the record on Ruthless Records, which at the time I thought was our record label, because we had just started Ruthless Records, N.W.A. None of that stuff had been out yet. We just putting the record label together. So I brought it back, put it on Ruthless Records. We ended up getting rid of 3 of the girls and keeping 2 and adding 1 more girl. And then all we did was just re-record it. I just replayed the music and did the beat over, and the 3 girls rapped over it again. See what I mean? So they just rapped over it again, and we put it back out. And the reason that Yella and Dre's name got on it and Eazy's name got on it is because I brought it to Ruthless, and we was all family at the time, and I just put them on because we were a production team.
I'm even looking at the Wikipedia article for JJ Fad Supersonic, the compact disc, and I'm not even seeing Another Hoe Bites the Dust on the track listing.
No, we didn't even keep it.
Wow.
When we did the album, it just fell off, because once Supersonic blew up, we just ended up putting Supersonic out as a single.
I'm seeing your name also attached to "Be Good to Me" from the follow-up, Not Just a Fad. Um,
Yeah.
what was your I guess connection to the group by this point? Because this was already 3 years after the first album.
Yeah, and I had already left N.W.A, but they were going to do the follow-up album, so they had to bring me back in to do, at least some of the tracks. But I just did a few. I wasn't there for the whole, album because I was like at that point not trusting the whole, Jerry Heller Control thing.
Right, right. So he like when you guys had made the album and you finished, when exactly did you leave the group? Because okay, I know you're not on the second album, but you're on the first album, but then they like some things happened in between. Like when exactly was the timeline that you left?
So we finished Straight Outta Compton and we started doing shows. And that's when I kind of figured it out because we would go on tour. And for the listening audience, when you go on tour, the promoters who pay you will send you half the money up front in a deposit. That way, you know that they're serious about paying you and you'll show up. So we would go on tour and we would get the half of the money on tour, but when we would get back in town, we would never see that deposit. Like all the deposits, we would never see. So Jerry Heller or whoever was running Ruthless wouldn't give us that money, and I would always complain about that. I'm like, man, we did like 12 shows. Where's the other half of the money? And they'd be like, oh, talk to Jerry about it. And I'm like, okay. Jerry, where's this money? Talk to Eazy. He'll figure it out. Okay, I talked to Eazy. Oh, talk to Jerry. And he'll figure it out. And I just kept, complaining about it. And then time went on, and then, records were selling. And then I'm like, man, where's the royalty statements? Like, can a brother get paid around here? I got like bills. Talk to Jerry, and it just kept going on and on. And I started to see that pattern, like, okay, I see what this is right here. Like, we supposed to be hardcore gangsters, and we getting like ganked from the inside. I'm out. you know. No hard feelings to my homeboys, man, but they didn't see it. And I told Cube and I told Dre them they was too kind of, just into the whole thing, having fun and all of that. But I'm like, this is a business too, and we got to get paid. And they didn't see it, so I bounced. And then, like, literally right after that, Cube figured it out and he left too.
Yeah, the group seemed to just slowly like dissipate. Just like as soon as the momentum started, you could just see things just started falling apart.
Yeah, yeah, and people, there's a lot of people out there that hit me up and like, man, don't you regret, leaving? I'm like, huh? I'm like, dude, I was on Straight Outta Compton. What happened after that? Like, did I miss something? I know there's like Niggas for Life and 100 Miles of Running, but I mean, Straight Outta Compton was it, and Cube left after that too. So just because his career blew up and you know him more on movies and stuff like that, y'all don't know what I've been tinkering on behind closed doors. I'm good, So I did my thing. Everybody did their thing. It had nothing to do with this in the group or anything. It was just business.
You were good with the group. There was no hard feelings after all of that. But I do have to ask, what was your opinion on the follow-up?
Well, they was really into that whole. They were dissing each other back and forth. So it was like a N.W.A against Ice Cube thing. So I was just kind of like, whatever. I was still cool with everybody, so I didn't want to get in the middle of it. But it was, I liked Niggas for Life and 100 Miles of Running and all that stuff. And it was just, but it was, I think a lot of the focus had changed, and as to being what it was in the beginning, just telling stories. It started kind of like we just going so deep into it, on this thing, and I don't know, it was crazy.
Yeah, I feel like there's a very stark contrast between Straight Outta Compton and Niggas for Life.
Yeah.
On Straight Outta Compton, it's still very 80s, but I feel like it's still enjoyably so. Like
Right.
I wouldn't say it's like a perfect album, but it's still very like it has lots of different points that you can listen to. It's varied. I feel like the problem with Niggas for Life was that it was too like we're really gangster and we're killing thousands, millions of people.
Yeah.
And then the second half is just we're just fucking the shit out of every girl we see. It's just like
Yeah.
It just felt like it felt like it was like, you know how like when you watch a movie and then you get the sequel and the sequel goes, oh well, we're Hollywood and we know exactly what you wanted, so let's just give you that.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It wasn't classic. You know what I'm saying? So it lost a lot of, you know, everything. And I think, you know, a lot probably had to do with Cube leaving and I, you know, toot my horn, but as a group, when we were all together, I think everything flowed better because, you know, there was a lot of hands on it. So
Yeah.
take a lot of the hands off and then it's definitely going to change, you know, because, you know, you had just Ren, I think DOC probably wrote some of that stuff, you know, so then the style was going to change too, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. But yeah, the albums are very different beasts, and I think it's interesting in just the fact that, especially since you know, well, you guys had made the N.W.A. The EP beforehand and Eazy-E, but I feel like from there into the 1991 album, there's just this very stark contrast, and I well, like I said, a lot of it comes from like, you know, Straight Outta Compton was like the first big album. It's like the first one was like, oh, this is who these guys are. And so it's like before that, you're allowed to be exactly who you are, and however you want to present that, that's the way it's gonna be. But then by the second album, it's like, well, we know what you like, so we have to do that. Like you know, like there wasn't gonna be a something to dance to on Niggas for Life. You know?
Oh, no, definitely not.
Now, going back to what I had said before, it's interesting when I asked you the question, which song do people know first? Because it's interesting to me that fuck the like if you say N.W.A, the first thing people think of is fuck the police and Straight Outta Compton.
Right.
But it's interesting that you say that. It's like, well, I mean, the first thing people maybe heard was something to dance to, or maybe express yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that's funny because it's like I would never think of N.W.A as like they're the groups that did the song about how you know they're the group that did the song where they didn't curse for the whole song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're the group that did the song about dancing. Like how and my question would be how did Fuck the Police and Straight Outta Compton, songs that did not get radio play as far as I know, right?
They eventually did, you know, like the radio stations cleaned them up themselves, you know, but in order to do that, you know, back then you had to cut tape. It wasn't no digital back then. So if you wanted to clean a song up, you had to literally take it, record it to a 2 track or, you know, like a 1/4 inch and sit there and splice it and flip it, you know, flip it upside down or whatever. So yeah,
So that's
they
why they would
did.
that's why they would just be like silences on old versions.
Oh yeah, silences, or they would just turn it upside down. But sometimes if you turn it upside down, it still sounds like a cuss word. So
I think that's weird that that would be people's first impression because like it would be like someone that like is into like rap for parties and stuff like that and hears something to dance to and they're like, yeah, I can really get down to this. I'm gonna pick up the album and then just be like, oh, this is not what I was expecting.
yeah. Well, I think people probably knew because you know there was still a lot of buzz out there about it. So you know there was a lot of buzz, so people knew what they was gonna get, what they were getting involved. But I think a lot of young kids probably got their parents to buy it. And parents probably didn't know. Like, oh yeah, I want that something to dance to song or that. Yeah, give me that. The group, that group St. Patrick's song. Yeah, I want that. You know.
So what happened where people began to know Fuck the Police? Like how did people get to know that? If it's a song you literally couldn't play on the radio. Like who was the first person who told anyone about it if you can't play it on the radio, you know?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That just went viral in the streets. You know what I mean? Like you heard people just bumping it on in their cars and on the street, and people talking about it in school. Like there's this one. I mean, this is totally unrelated, but I'm gonna use. I gotta quote him because I'm gonna use his little statement. There's this dude named C.T. Fletcher, this bodybuilding dude on TV, like from the hood. And he's always talking about, have you heard? You know, like, so people was in the streets like, hey man, have you heard this? You heard this fucking police shit? Like, man, have you heard? No, man, no, you know, you gotta listen to this. You don't even know what you know, you missing. So
So
I think that's how that got around.
it was like a legit organic thing. It wasn't like, oh, we're pushing this. It's just like it wasn't like a here's the bad boy group that made Fuck the Police. It was like people organically started listening to it. So how did like the you know Nancy Reagan like how did she find out about it? You know what I mean? Like
Oh, you mean Tipper Gore?
Or excuse me, yeah, Tipper
Yeah,
Gore.
Tipper. Yeah, I mean, she probably found out about it because her kid probably was in this room banging it or something. I don't know. Yeah, that's how I got around. Is people start complaining, down in the suburban areas, like, no. My little son was in his room, like, talking about fuck police and, you know,
Because the thing
coming
is,
from Compton and throwing, like, hey, we got to stop this.
because the thing that's funny to me is like it's not like it was getting played on the radio. Like it's not like, oh, well, you can't escape that new Madonna song because you know what I mean. Like radio stations are playing it all the time, and this thing, it's like, well, I mean, they're not really playing "Fuck the Police." You could hear it, but it just feels like people went out of their way to try to censor something that wasn't even in the way to begin with.
Yeah, yeah. They are, and by doing that, they just made it more popular. But that's the stupid thing about it. When you bring something to the news and you put it out there in the public eye, something that we didn't have. We didn't have the power early on to spread it across the country. They did that for us. We didn't have that kind of distribution. But as soon as that happened, every record company in the country was like trying to get the record. Like, hey, can we get that? Can you ship us some of them? People keep asking for this.
And I think it's hilarious that you guys specifically were like, well, maybe we shouldn't promote the more controversial songs because no one will want to listen to them. And then it's like, hey, let's get those songs specifically because people want to listen to them.
Yeah. So it turned out, the way we wanted to anyway. So
where did the idea of "She's Got a Big Posse" come from?
Oh man, it was just some of my homeboys, man. I had some homeboys I used to run with, and we were all sitting down talking about it. It was like, wouldn't it be funny to make this song about a chick that just slept with a lot of dudes? You know what I mean? And my homeboy Tim Reed Jr. was like, yeah, we're gonna do this. She got a big posse thing, and I'm like, that's just funny. Let's do it. And that's what I was into, man. I was just into, let's just do some funny shit, like that people like just get a kick out of.
I just love the odd wordplay of posse and pussy.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Like, just push it right to the line, and hey, the radio stations played it. MTV played it, so it was right there, borderline, but they played it.
It's like they can't censor it. They're like,
yeah.
When we had mentioned the Tipper Gore and that whole controversy, I'd heard that this was all mainly stemmed from a Prince song, Darling Nikki, which actually Tipper did hear her daughter listening to, her son, whatever, and that's what kind of started the whole thing. An interesting story from our last conversation was about where you got the name Arabian Prince from and how that was partially inspired by Prince.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I used to just, man, in the early days, man, coming up, you either look like Prince or Michael Jackson. And I wouldn't look like Prince because Prince had more women. And, you dress up like Prince, and as soon as you dress up like Prince and you go to the party, every chick that looked like Apollonia or Vanity was trying to find you. So that was like my thing, man. And I used to call myself DJ Prince. And one day I was at a skating rink doing a DJ set with my boy Egyptian Lover, and some girl came up to me and asked my name, and I told her, and she was like, well, you always hanging out with Egyptian Lover, you should call yourself Arabian Prince. And I was like, that shit might be funny. And Egypt was like, hey, let's do that. Yeah, we can make more money. I'm like, cool. So it just stuck.
And another question I had was, who's that guy?
That guy is my boy Tim Reed Jr. Matter of fact, do you remember WKRP in Cincinnati?
Yes.
That old TV show?
Right.
The black guy, Tim Reed, from the show, that's his son, Tim Reed Jr. He was one of my homeboys that wrote on some of my songs on the album I did, my solo album.
Was there a reason why he's not credited by name and he's just called that guy as executive producer?
Yeah, he's one. That's what he wanted. He, hey, that's what you want, And I think even on the thing, he's on one of my singles with just like a hat on with his face down, like he didn't want to show his face,
Oh wow.
So,
was there a riff on that? Wasn't there like a TV show called That Girl?
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yo, it's that guy.
Yeah.
Wait, that guy with the glasses? No, just
No,
that guy.
the guy in the hat who's not showing his face.
Yeah.
It's a bit lengthy for a URL, but yeah.
So, what did you think about that movie that came out about Michael Jackson's life?
Oh yeah, the Harry Potter movie. But you know what? It like I said, before, it's a great the Straight Outta Compton movie is a great film. It's an amazing film. The actors were great. The actual, as far as movie value, it was a great film. It's just, a lot of the scenes in there weren't really what it was in real life. And I understand you got to do that when you make a Hollywood movie. And like, I was there in real life in 50% of those scenes, but I wasn't in the movie one bit. And I think we talked about this earlier. I understand the reason why I wasn't in the movie. I think was because I sued Eazy's wife over royalties a couple times and actually got paid. So she probably just, conveniently left me out the movie because she's an executive producer,
Yeah.
But I don't understand why Ren got a raw role in the movie, because I think Ren should have been represented way more than he actually was, in the movie.
Yeah. I remember specifically I was trying to find you. Like, because I was like, how? And apparently you are in the movie, because your name is like in the credit thing has like someone as Arabian Prince.
No, but that means that they found somebody that looked like me, or they thought looked like me, but that don't mean they put him in the movie unless they put him in the movie and it ended up on like the cutting room floor somewhere. You know what I mean?
They find the guy just walking past Dr. Dre. Hey, what's going on, man?
Yeah.
Because I was like, no, because like, I mean, he is on a like. How do you rectify the fact that he actually is like, you weren't just a producer, your voice was on some of those songs. So
Yeah.
like,
And funny thing is, they actually show the album cover in the movie,
yeah.
but they got the actors' faces on there, and I'm like, okay, well, there is my actor on the cover, but you at least, like I said, at least explain why I'm not there. Like, show the scene where I left. Like, show the Shark Tank scene. I'm out. Give me that.
Like,
Oh,
it'd be great if they just showed like a shark just comes up and eats your character.
Yeah. But
It's like, fuck it, as long as it's a movie.
Yeah, at least explain. Because like I said, I don't really care, man. I'm not really a hog for fame. I'm good. I've always been cool about that stuff. But if they had just, I actually am getting more people getting at me because I was left out the movie than if they ever put me in the movie. Because they had put me in the movie sitting on the couch eating popcorn or something, nobody would have said nothing about me, right? Nobody would have said nothing. Nothing. They would have been like, okay, he's in the movie. And okay, yeah, there he is. Oh, that's that dude on the cover. And that would have been the end of it. But because they left me out, people are actually trying to figure out hold up.
What
How come
happened?
there's 6 here and there's 5 there, and then I've got to do a shitload of interviews and all kind of crap, and it's cool.
Instead, everyone just would have been like, "Oh yeah, Arabian Prince. He used to eat a lot of popcorn. I watched the movie. In every scene, he's just sitting on that couch eating popcorn. What's your favorite brand of popcorn? Do you really like Newman's?"
Hey, if you look at Yella, pretty much they got Yella dead on. All Yella did was chase women in the movie. In real life, that's all he did. So they pretty much got him doing that. You never saw, he didn't really do nothing else in the movie, but he's there. And Yella touring all over the place now because of that. I think I just saw he's in like Belgium or something right now DJing.
Yeah,
So
it's actually interesting. The movie only shows like, they show Dr. Dre like, surrounded by the music and these records and stuff, and like they kind of act like everyone else is just like, oh yeah, that stuff's cool.
yeah, and that's what thing that was really really funny about me. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute. They show him, and like I said, no disrespect to my homie Dre or nobody, but they show him in the room in the beginning, and he's got an 808. I'm like, wait a minute. That was my 808. I was going with the 808 that we used in the studio on the record. He didn't have no 808. He was the record crew. They used DMX drum machines and stuff like that. So it's like I said, it's a movie.
Yeah.
It's a movie. It's what it is. So I'm glad it came out, because if it didn't come out, then it wouldn't come out. But it came out, and Now I gotta, like I said, I was asleep, man. I was playing basketball, playing golf, doing my video game stuff. I was chill. Now I gotta do social media, you know. Yeah, whatever.
It's a thing.
It's a thing, man. I get to talk to cool people like y'all, it's a good thing.
I love how you're so cool about it, though. It's just like, oh yeah, they do all this stuff. Well, as long as they pay me, I mean.
Yeah.
I was curious. When N.W.A was talking about a reunion, were you approached during that time?
No. I wasn't approached about that. And like I said, I think that a lot of that had to do with, any reunion of N.W.A has to go through pretty much Tamika, who owns Ruthless Records, and she don't like me, and I don't know why she don't like me because I ain't got nothing to do with her. All the stuff I sued about had to do with stuff that went on before she took over the label. Had to do with stuff that probably Jerry Heller did, forging my name on contracts and stuff. So it's nothing personal
Whoa.
about any of that.
Wait. So people were forging your names on
Oh,
contracts?
I didn't mention that. Oh, I'm
No.
sorry.
Oh my
Please.
god. Elaborate.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, so and I don't know who did it, but okay, Supersonic, was a big hit, and to this day it still makes money. And
Yeah, people are sampling it, right?
oh yeah, and blessings on to Will.I.am and Fergie for taking Supersonic and turning it into Fergalicious, which sold like 10 million copies.
They made sure you ate that year.
Oh my God. I mean, that was like cool. And I'm like, oh yeah, oh, my name is in the credits. Like, all right, we good. So when the money started rolling in from that, my check scale was kind of light. And I like, why? I know how much this sold. How come I'm only getting this right here? So I checked into it, called Ruthless Records, and they was like, well, you're only supposed to be getting this because you signed over this right here. And I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. I never signed anything. No, I never gave anybody my publishing. I'm not stupid. I can count to 10. Like, why would I give money away? Like, and I have that running joke, and like, I'm not racist, but I'm bluish, and you got to figure out what bluish mean, but I'm bluish, and I would never sign over, 20% of my publishing to anybody. So I had to go to court on that. And they sent me a contract, and there was a signature on the contract. And that contract, you could actually read my name, like read it. And the way I signed my signature, it was like a wet seal signing it. You can't read my name when I sign it. So whoever signed that didn't know how I signed my name, and it wasn't me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Yeah, I remember you saying well, oh, no. I'm not going to say that you say this. But people saying, like, N.W.A was kind of, like, the idea of the group being a group was kind of a scam in and of itself. Because, like, you guys weren't legally a group yet, right? Until you signed contracts.
Technically, I mean, that was my point. Like when we put that thing together, it was just homies, like me, Dre, and Eazy talked and was like, "Hey, let's do this right here." Cool. All right, we made the N.W.A EP, and how we got paid was the records would get pressed. We would go to the record company, pick up a box of records, each of us, and go take them out and sell them. We drive around our car to the swap meet, to the record stores, and you give them to them, and you got money, and that was your money. We shared in the record label.
Wait, hold on. So this wasn't like we go to this company and they distribute it themselves. You just went out and was just like, hey man, you want to check this out?
Oh yeah, because McCullough Records was a manufacturing company. They really weren't a distributor. They distributed, but they just distributed to like one stops. So like you get it manufactured, and then they would just put it in their little catalog, and then the one stop stores that sold to stores will come in. Oh, what you got new? Oh, what's this N.W.A? All right, give us 10 of those. We'll try it out, and they put it in there, and if they sold, they would come get more. But we had to actually go out and try to sell it ourselves. So, and that's the other reason I left, because we had, it's whack, man, when you got hit records out there, and then all of a sudden some guy comes in that's supposed to be your manager and takes over the company because you're all young and don't really know about business, and just starts like, oh, this is what it is. And you're like, oh, that ain't how it was. That ain't how it was supposed to be. And then all of a sudden you find out that, money's funny.
Yeah. And basically, you going solo was like, you had said something last time. It's like, I'd rather be in a group where I mean, I'd rather be by myself and be getting less money, but it's mine, than be in this huge group where it's like millions of dollars, and some of it will come to us eventually.
Right, right. Yeah, and that's what it is. Like we weren't getting paid, and I was making money before as a solo artist.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
all me. I was making my own records, and I was putting them out, and I was getting my money back. So I was making money as a solo artist, and then I come back. Next thing I know, I get in this group, and we got like hit records we got, and I'm not making money. They don't add up. So I'm gonna go back and do solo again and make money. Yeah.
So you're not like, I can't find any of your albums before 1989. Did you make like albums before then, or was
I
it
just
just
made
like,
singles, like, because that was the thing. Everybody on the West Coast, really, everybody just put out singles. You just dropped singles. You just dropped a bunch of singles. And I just did a bunch of singles. And then the only albums I did is when I produced all the albums for Bobby, Jimmy, and the Critters. I produced all those albums, but for the most part, I just made a bunch of singles under Arabian Prince. And then I did a couple Professor X things.
oh, okay. Now, why did you change it into Professor X?
That's a funny one. So one day I was at home and I was working on music and I already had a song out. I think I had either my first single, Strange Life, or It Ain't Tough, or Innovator. One of my records was already out. I just put it out. And I'm in there working on music and I'm watching cartoons and the X-Men cartoon came on. And I was like, interesting. Okay. Professor X, huh? That's kind of dope. So I started working on this song, and I was like, I'll make the song called Professor X. So I made the Professor X song, and I talked to my boy N.W.A, who was already, making records as well, and him and his boy DJ Slip. So we decided to call ourselves the X-Men and put out a bunch of junk called the X-Men, and then I was Professor X. So, and I did it just because I couldn't take that song and put it under Arabian Prince. So I said, I'll put it out under Professor X so I can have two records out at the same time and get paid twice.
Wait, why couldn't you put out it under Arabian Prince?
I mean, I could have, but it was just it was kind of a slightly different style. It was more German electro-y, like more Kraftwerk electro style. When I was doing more party stuff, and I just said, let me just throw it under another name. And I told you I'm bluish, so I want to make twice as much money anyway. So
I had a feeling it was X-Men inspired, but I didn't understand like where that would have possibly come from, unless you were like, nuts deep into comics in the first place.
It came from Fox Saturday Morning.
You know what I was thinking? My brain went to like, wait, wasn't that like one of the names of like Public Enemy or something like that?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? That was, and I think that, and I haven't gone back to look at who came out first, but I would probably think that I might have edged. No, that was the dude, not from the X Clan, calling himself Professor X.
Oh, okay. No, you know what I did? I messed it up. There's
Professor Griff
X and Professor Griff.
Professor Griff, yeah. Yeah, but there was an X-Men. There was a Professor X and X Clan, but I think my Professor X was before his, and then I didn't care because it was just an electro thing. It was just two different ones.
Yeah. Well, can I ask, what got you into music in the first place? Like taking it seriously?
Man, so my mom's was a pianist and a music teacher. My real father wrote books. I mean, he was wrote over 50, 60, fiction books and was the editor of a bunch of magazines and music magazines. My stepfather was a bass player. And then my uncle, who was my biggest influence in music, was always pumping Parliament Funkadelic and funk and Prince and all that stuff in my head, so yeah, all that kind of rolled into it.
And how did you start getting your equipment for doing stuff?
So my first I became a DJ, and like I said, my father had a radio show on KH radio in LA, like a little talk show, and I would go down there sometime and sit in the booth in the control room, and that's where all the records were. So I learned how to DJ doing that. So that's how I got into that. And soon after, I had a little job I think I only had like 2 jobs my whole life. I worked at a luggage store, a shoe store, and like a little pet store thing for a hot second. And I saved some money. And when I used to DJ, I couldn't afford like an expensive drum machine. So I went and bought one of those Mattel Sensonic drums from like Toys R Us. And I used that in the club, man, to make beats.
Wow.
Yeah, and it worked. And that's why I was like, oh, I can make a record. You know? So I went to the studio knowing nothing about recording studios and made a record. And it sold. And I was like, okay, this is fun. Yeah.
So for the name N.W.A, like how did that name come about?
The name. We were at my mom's house, and that's something that was one of the biggest things that I thought that should have been in there that was left out is how the name came about. Like they just kind of skipped around and was like, oh, N.W.A. Like, oh, what's the name of the group? N.W.A. No, that's not how,
You know, it would be great if they were just like, it's like, hey, we're at someone's house.
Yeah, we're at that guy's house. We're at that guy's house. Who's he's getting sodas and food for us right now, but we're gonna come up with his name while he's not in the room. But yeah, it was at my mom's house. We were just sitting in the living room and just kind of talking about it, and somebody just said, man, I feel like a nigga with attitude. And it was like, like light bulb, hey, that's the name. Cool,
What were there any other names? Like what were the first names that y'all came up with?
Man, like, it was no first names. I remember I had made a joke about the title of the album, calling it, like, From Compton with Love, and having a bunch of people on the album cover with guns. They thought it was corny, but I still think that shit would have been funny.
I like that.
Fools on the cover with guns talk about From Compton with Love.
Dude, that would have been awesome.
I know, but they thought that shit was corny.
There's an alternate universe.
So, but whatever,
No, you should have called it From Compton with Hate.
I hate that. I hate that we don't touch more on the on afterwards, like the solo albums. Like it's just that either we're not as familiar. I guess.
I remember "Where's My Bitches."
Oh, that one. And "Where's My Bitches"? Like, man, that never actually came out. It did come out, but in like a very, very short run. And then I had another album called The Underworld. That one never came out because I was signed to EMI, and Orpheus was going through some craziness, and they were about to go out of business or some crap. And then EMI was gonna have to put it out directly, and EMI was like, "Nah, we ain't touching we ain't touching this Underworld album. Like it's kind of too deep for us."
Goddamn.
But what's crazy with people been bugging me recently with all this hype and people talking about me, I might drop the Underworld album and the Where's My Bitches album both on iTunes.
That would be smart. Yeah, either that or like Bandcamp's really hot too. Either that or
iTunes. Dude, hop on Bandcamp, shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know. I know about Bandcamp. I gotta go look it up. Let me put that in my notes. It's old cats, man. It's funny. I'm a tech head, but I'm not like a crazy social media cat. You know what I mean? So all that like social media, like SoundCloud and Bandcamp and all that stuff, I really don't get into it too much. And I think too because I've always been a producer that works on my own style of music, so I really don't listen to too much other music out there. I try to stay away from it because I don't want to steal anybody's ideas.
You know what's interesting? I checked out one of your albums. Well, not the whole thing, but I got into Innovative Life.
Yeah.
Is that you?
Yeah, Innovator and Innovative Life. Like that's if you ever find, I'm gonna tell you this, if you ever find, because I only got one, but if you ever find that 12-inch, it's on a red label, right? And it has Innovator on one side, Innovative Life on the other, and Take You Home Girl. There's 3 songs on there. All 3 of those songs were hits. And if you find that single, I've seen people buying that thing for like 100, 200, 300 bucks for that one single. Yeah. And it's crazy. I wish I had like a couple boxes instead of laying around somewhere.
Actually, wait a minute. It's on Spotify.
Yeah, but not the not the actual.
Yeah. But like
12-inch, yeah.
Panic Zone is on here too.
Yeah.
Is this like a is this like a legit album? Because like you said with N.W.A. and the Posse, you know, sometimes people will be like putting out other people's stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, so is this like legit you?
Yeah. Well, you know what it is? The N.W.A. and the Posse, what happened was after they bootlegged it, McCullough bootlegged it, when we did the deal with Ruthless with Priority Records, they just bought it out. We just kind of took it from McCullough. Just said, you know what, y'all already selling this as an album. Screw it. We'll take it and just put it out on Ruthless Records, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was it about? And so this isn't like, is this like a full album from the year 2008? Or is this a compilation?
What are you looking at? What does it say?
It's called Innovative Life, and it's like the anthology. Okay. It's probably just an anthology.
Oh, is that the Stone thing?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that's my greatest hits.
Okay.
Yeah, Stone did that on me, and my boy Peanut Butter Wolf over there did that, and that was like dope. That's a dope little thing. It's got all the stuff I did early on.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. So
I was trying to find your other stuff on Spotify. This is the only thing I could find.
yeah, because I ain't putting none of that stuff up, man. I'm gonna put it up there, dude. I'm gonna put all my stuff up. I'm gonna give a call over to iTunes and talk to them and upload this stuff.
What were you up to between 93 and the Professor X projects?
Well, I was still touring, just all over Europe doing, just shows and stuff. But that's when I really, really got deep into all the video game stuff and the special effects stuff and all of that. Because I had done stuff. I really, really got into that movie effect stuff, doing all that 3D animation. So I was doing a lot of stuff with Fox Interactive and with Saban. Like worked on the Power Rangers and Silver Surfer and Adam's Family. Man, I was having fun doing that because one thing I found out that was totally different was the music industry. You always got to fight people for your money. In the film and TV industry, they pay you now. Like they want to put this stuff out. They pay you a lot of money and they pay you now because they don't want no problems.
So if anyone is wondering why Will Smith won't go back to the music career.
Oh my God. Like Will Smith walked into an office and they go, Will, huh? $20 million. Okay. Like, have him try to get $20 million off of making an album. You know what I mean? See if you ever get it.
It's ridiculous.
And I heard our boy, what's his name? Johnny Depp got $50 million.
I'm surprised.
Play a pirate.
I'm
surprised. Play a pirate.
If anyone's looking to cast a pirate, look no further than Arabian Prince. Who are you listening to these days?
Man, well, like I said, I really don't listen to too much music, but certain things kind of pop up. You know who I love right now? And it ain't even on the hip hop tip. I love that girl, FKA Twigs.
Oh, I heard about that, yeah.
Yeah, I love her. And then somebody else kind of hit me to this other girl group called, Coco something.
Oh,
two girls, kind of weird. I gotta find out what this is. Hold on, let me pull it up right now. Coco. I gotta go to my YouTube. I'll find it. But I like crazy stuff, like just new, innovative. Like, man, did you see that? You know what I mean? Like, what the hell was that? Like, the N.W.A, love them. I'm into this some crazy.
Oh, the N.W.A, dude, they're fucking.
Yeah.
they're wild.
Oh yeah, Coco Rosie.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah, and then what's the on the hip hop tip? I'm into something the duck? Watch the duck.
Oh, Run the Jewels?
No, Watch the Duck.
Watch the Duck.
If you ain't seen Watch the Duck, let me make sure that's what I'm saying it. Yeah, go watch this video called Watch the Duck Popping Off.
Okay.
Dude, no, if you see that video, it's going to be your most favorite hip hop video of all time. It came out 2 years ago, and they've got 2 million hits. So, I mean, for an underground group,
Yeah, that's not bad.
Not bad.
I got a little playlist I gotta watch after this now. I gotta watch the Duck. I gotta watch You Got a Big Posse. I got stuff to watch. I got homework.
Yeah, you gotta watch. I'll put on your list. You gotta watch JJ Fad Be Good to Me.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay,
Oh,
And
I
you
have
gotta
that
watch
tab open
there's
too,
another
actually.
one.
oh,
JJ Fad Be Good to Me and JJ Fad.
I gotta check out the diss track, the Roxanne diss track.
Oh yeah, if you can find it
Yeah.
online.
Was it Another Hoe Bites the Dust?
How could you
Yeah, another
forget?
whole bunch of stuff.
Now, what was the inspiration? Yeah, what was the inspiration for that? Like, they wanted to make a diss song to Roxanne, but like, what was the, like, why?
They just figured like, okay, we from the West Coast. They from the East Coast. We want to diss. We want to diss some chicks, and that's what they want to do. I think I found it. Let me just make sure this is it on YouTube. And it's just called JJ Fad Another Hoe.
Oh, okay.
ANOTHA. I'm just making sure this is it. People be just uploading everything.
Yeah.
I think this is it. Yep, this is it. Woo, I forgot about that. Roxanne Shante ain't got no hair in the back.
Man, it's a shame this wasn't officially released. I think you had mentioned last time that it probably wasn't because of the Queen sample. Would have cost too much money.
No, well, I guess it says, I'm looking at the picture. It's on the JJ Fad remix featured in
Coming to
Coming to
America?
America film.
Oh, wow.
We had a song in Coming to America called Coming Correct was in Coming to America in the background when they was walking down buying new clothes in New York.
I think I remember that.
Yeah, yeah. Because it actually says JJ Fad in the song in the movie.
Dude, that's dope.
Gotta add that to the playlist too. Cool.
Yeah.
Got so much to
that's
check out.
funny.
We're about
And you got to add this to your playlist too. What's the other one? We in the House. Because both We in the House and Be Good to Me, me and DJ Yeller in both of those.
Okay.
Yeah, it was funny. Cause we was like me and Yeller for a minute was kind of like trying to be like almost like Morris Day and not Morris Day and Jerome. We was more like
Were you guys trying to be the P Diddy, like the?
No, we was trying to be we was more funny, like comedic. So we was more like I don't know if you ever seen the Prince movie Under the Cherry Moon?
Nah, I never saw it.
Yeah, that shit was it was Graffiti Bridge. Under the Cherry Moon, Prince and Jerome, who was Morris Day's sidekick, was like brothers, and they was funny, dude. It's the funniest movie you ever want to see. I don't know why you do better. It's hilarious.
Yeah, I'd only seen the DVD like floating around once, but yeah, I don't hear anyone talking about that follow-up movie.
Yeah, you had to be into Prince to really like it, but Prince is like a freaking clown in that movie.
Huh.
Wow, I'd always considered Prince to be very serious. I think I just never got into him as much.
Dude, he's a clown in the movie. I can't even talk about it, but there's a scene in there, dude, where he's trying to get this girl to pronounce something he wrote down. You just have to see it. It is the funniest shit I've ever seen.
Okay, I gotta watch Under the Cherry Moon. All right.
We have an evening set up. Awesome.
There you go.
Well, I guess we should wrap it up here. I think now's a good point.
Yeah, now we're just deviating into just
Just whatever.
It's just shit I gotta watch. But I figured that's actually what it would have been anyway, because we already got we're relaxed from last time because we may not have known what to expect from the interview, but now we're more acquainted. We feel like we know you on a level since we know that you'll check out SpongeBob SquarePants if it's on TV.
Yeah, or Doctor Who, when the new one comes on at 6 o'clock. Gotta watch it.
Oh my god, I missed last week's. We still haven't watched it. Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
So don't spoil it. Don't spoil it. I don't know anything about it yet.
I'm just getting into it. Like I just started on the Ninth Doctor.
Oh, well, that's a good place to start.
Funny. Real quick thing on that. I mean, we're going way off the box now, but
Why not?
I remember Doctor Who's been out since like 65.
Yeah.
I was born in 65, so I've been watching Doctor Who since I was a little kid.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never went back and checked out any of the older stuff. It's intimidating because there's so much.
Yeah, it feels like there's so much stuff to watch.
It's just so easy to start with Eccleston because you don't want to go all the way back, and you have like 50 years.
Well, if you ever go back, the best is to watch Tom Baker because he was the best Doctor Who, I think.
I do hear that a lot.
Curly, crazy. Yeah, he's the best one. Yeah.
What was it? Now, I'm not sure if this aired. I think it might have been airing on British television, but oh, you might have got BBC. I don't know. Did you ever see the Max Headroom thing that happened?
Oh, that was in syndication, I believe, in the States.
Oh, okay. Well,
I think it was on a public access channel when it was there was that hijack and someone hijacked the feed. It was like a pirate, and they got on the stream and dressed up like Max Headroom. And look that up on YouTube. Just look up. Now the tables have turned. Now I'm giving you shit to watch. Thank you very much for spending a second afternoon with us. It really means a lot. We were torn apart. We were inconsolable that evening because, like, right after the stream, I was trying to start editing it, and then I was like, "Oh, I can't find the file of our interview. I don't think it recorded." And we were just like, "Shit!" We tried so long to get this guy on the show, and just to how willing you were to give us a follow up, it means so much, and I really appreciate it.
For sure, man. I love doing it, man. We got over an hour of stuff y'all got to edit together, so that's cool.
Yep.
I got the backup copy if you need it.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll have to hit you up if we need a follow up.
He gives me that call again. And it's
God.
No. Dude, you don't understand. I was feeling some type of fucking way. I was like, because we had joked about it before. We were like, oh man, yeah, we should get Arabian Prince. Like, you know, the joke being, oh, that could never happen.
Yeah.
And then someone just said, hey, you know, I just hit up Arabian Prince, like, he said he would be down. And I was like, nah.
Just to think we squandered that, like, gift. Just like, oh, that didn't have to happen, but it did, and we fucked it up.
And then when we told people, like, that we were, like, sincerely disappointed that it happened, like, they were like, oh, we thought you were just joking. Like, like, when I said, yeah, we got an interview, and then we said, oh, it didn't go right, the things didn't record, and then when we announced that we were going to do another one again, like, they were like, oh, we thought you guys were doing the, hey, you ever seen that Yo MTV Raps where they're like, we got Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg in the studio, and then it's like, oh, they didn't show up. And then people are thinking like it's a joke the whole time.
Oh yeah.
We gotta do our sign off.
Oh cool. Yeah.
So from Rap Critic and Muse and maybe Arabian Prince.
Ooh.
I've been Rap Critic.
And I've been Muse.
And
I'm Arabian Prince, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Arrivederci.
Ciao, bella.